If Superman was an insect, who would be his girlfriend?
I don't know.
Locust Lane. The greatest DC comic show on YouTube is back after spring break. Welcome to Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. It's so great to have you here. And joining me is silver-haired Bronze Age Babe. How are you? How was your Easter?
My Easter was fantastic. The Easter Bunny giveth.
Wonderful.
I have been eating more chocolate than a person should, really. Yeah, my Easter egg hunt went really well. So I'm good.
Good. I've gone on an all eggs diet. Cadbury.
Cadbury. There you go.
So, and then week before that, Signature King was unavailable. I was unavailable because Signature King and I were in the same place.
I am so jealous. And that, when worlds collide, apparently. Now, did the city of Chicago survive this meeting of the minds? Or
I think so. But interestingly enough, he's not here tonight.
I noticed that.
Yeah, I noticed that too. And I'm like, I had said before that his life would never be the same after meeting me. And now he's not here. So what do you think? Do you think that he needed another week away from me? Or do you think that he literally had a reasonable excuse for not being here tonight?
I think he needed a week away from you.
I do too.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll be here next week, or will another excuse come up?
He'll show up. I think he's going to show up because I know he'll want to talk about all those graded books that he finally got back.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's got some stuff on his channel.
Yeah, which I finally caught the first video that he posted a few days ago. Man, oh man, he's what a great haul.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what's coming yet.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
Tony,
we missed you, Tony.
Yeah, Tony and I had a chance to meet at C2E2. I went to the Sunday only of C2E2. I mean, how many times do you get to meet your friend that you do your YouTube weekly show with? And how many times do you get to walk by and go, oh, there's Molly Ringwald? I mean, not that many.
Ain't life weird?
It is. I mean, I saw cosplay like you wouldn't believe. I saw an amazing Wilma Flintstone. But probably my favorite, just because I would never think to choose this character to cosplay as, or I don't know anyone who would shoot, it's so creative. I saw someone who went as Little Debbie.
The cake?
Yeah, she had a wagon with some cakes and snacks.
Oh my God. I bet she was extremely popular.
I mean, right. Yeah. So
nice. Well, I told you after one of our shows, if I ever decide to go to a convention and cosplay, I'm just going to cosplay as remember the little dog Marie who bit the berry in one of the Thorn and Rose stories?
Oh yes, I do remember that.
The white dead dog. I'm going to just have a little dead dog on a leash dragging around.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, maybe I could cosplay as that bitch Chelsea.
Right. I mean, we got this locked.
Ideas.
I know. They just flow.
Yeah. So if you're watching on the rewind, thank you so much for joining us. Joining us in the live chat tonight, some folks that we want to say hello to. We'll start with Christina Payne, a great moderator who's reminding you to throw your lasso around that thumbs up as you head in here. So thank you so much.
Very nice.
Yeah. Cookie is here. Link. Just a little podcast. So how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Always great to see Steve Whiting, who stopped by. So,
good evening.
Yes. John's Comics with Kids is here. Lois Lane. No man. Well, I think she wants a good man.
She wants a good man.
She wants a good man, which is what we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
In the Retro Review. So thank you for stopping by, John. And we'll shout out more as they start to roll into. And yeah, I've got Oh, when I want to tease this right now, especially for you, Shabab.
Yeah.
My book show tonight is something that I think you're really going to get into. That's just what I'm going to say.
Okay.
So,
well, hurry up with the show.
All right. Meow to the Jackson Roy Kirk.
Oh, hi, Jackson.
Yeah, it's not Catterday, but he's still here.
Yeah.
So awesome. If there ever was a time really to take a spring break, I think we took it at the right time, because there's a few news stories to talk about, but there isn't, at least I think, a whole lot of news stories to talk about.
I looked up Google DC News, and all I could come up with was their own website. So I was like, you know what? The boys must have some better source than this, so I can contribute nothing.
Okay, so you can contribute your thoughts on this. So probably the most interesting piece of news that's come out, that I thought at least, did you hear about the McFarlane hijacking? Oh, well, I guess hijacking or stolen toys. Did you hear about this?
No. Oh my goodness.
Okay. So there was a truck that was leaving McFarlane, and it was headed for Walmart, full of like exclusives for the big Walmart Collectors Con.
Oh.
Included in there was like all these Supergirl page punchers, which is like a Walmart line where you get like the little mini action figure with a comic book behind it. They call them page punchers. And there also was a Joker Killing Joke action figure that was an exclusive. Wow. All of these have gotten stolen from the truck sometime after they left McFarlane and sometime before they arrived at Walmart. And that's about all the details that have been said. What do you think? What do you make of that?
I think, boy, the organized crime is like, all right, well, the drugs and that's one thing. But you know who will really pay top dollar? Comic
those people. Collectors.
Those stupid collectors.
Yeah.
Talk about falling off a truck.
Yeah.
Wow.
I haven't heard a whole lot of update on this since. What Walmart did is they went and canceled the orders. For everyone that ordered, they canceled them.
Okay.
So, which if I was a collector, I'd be extremely disappointed. I would have rather been like, your item's going to be delayed.
Right.
Than having my order canceled.
But
I understand that too. They must have found something though, because in the last week or so, Tom King posted a Supergirl page puncher on his social media. And all he wrote in the description was, found this, it fell off of a truck. So.
Oh, good. And isn't he writing he wrote the Supergirl movie that's.
Yeah, the Woman of Tomorrow.
Woman of Tomorrow.
Yeah, which, and that is what the page puncher is based out of, Woman of Tomorrow.
Okay.
So.
Oh my god. Well, it's like a heist. This could turn into a documentary, a really interesting documentary.
It could.
The fervid, comic book fans who are like, where done that truck go? I mean, this could be something really interesting.
If I was Dateline, I would be calling Metrop to try to book an interview. Not that Metrop stole it, not that he stole it, because he knows the knowledge of of the whole comic book thing to add to that.
Right.
Why it's important. That's why I would be booking him.
An expert. He's the
expert.
A subject matter expert, as we used to say in the biz.
Yes.
Oh, aren't you kind?
But Steve makes a great point. How do you sell these now? Because they're so hot. If you try to sell one, you're going to get caught as the thief.
Well, on public sites like eBay and that kind of thing. But, if you follow, organized crime and what they do with like art heists, it doesn't necessarily, if a Rembrandt goes off the wall at a museum, it's not usually because it's sitting in a collector's basement. It's because the criminal underground folks want to have it as collateral to do future deals with prosecutors.
Yes.
So I'm sure there's someone who's just waiting. Is like, don't worry, Vinny, we're gonna get you a lower sentence because we got the truck of toys. you know, and they're going to want to solve that.
Yep. And I said Steve Whiting before. I'm sorry, Steve White. I sincerely apologize. That's bad on my part. You take 2 weeks off from doing the show and you forget how to do the show.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, see, there it is. Yeah.
But I wonder if someone thought that it was something else, you know, and then all of a sudden it's like, I've got 350 Supergirl page punchers. What am I going to do with these? You know, I think that would be hysterical.
I know. They thought it was like, you know, something that's going to be valuable as tariffs roll in, like televisions or God knows, toilet paper, you know, who knows? Yeah. It's like, what?
Yeah.
So, well, that'll be interesting to follow that particular heist.
It will be. I would be curious to see what happens with this. This could be the D.B. Cooper of the comic book world.
Right. Steve White thinks they were going for eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jackson's on the same wavelength. Yep.
Yeah. So, coming out soon is a great Batman 66 compendium. And just this past Friday was the 85th anniversary of Batman #1 being released. And now the compendium, Batman 66, will include the entire 2013 through 2016 Batman 66 comic book series, plus Batman 66, The Lost Episode, and material from Solo #7. But now all of that had already been in the Batman 66 omnibus. But what's new that was never included in the omnibus is the Batman 66 meets Wonder Woman 77 1-6 miniseries, and Batman 66 meets the Legion of Superheroes. So all of this is going to be together in one compendium. And I can share with you the cover art, which I thought was really good. What do you think of that?
Oh, that's great.
That's fun.
That's
it's just fun.
Really fun. Yeah. Neat.
Yeah. So this will be a soft cover, I believe. And it's due for release August 26th at 1,024 pages and MSR $59.99.
Boy. Got to have strong shelves to hold these omnibus things, don't you?
Yeah, it was. Hey, Ben Compton, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by. It's great to see you here. So otherwise, in news, you know, Tony always likes to make sure that we include something about the casting or the DCU, the extended universe, the movies, the television shows and stuff too. A rumor started flying that Green Arrow is going to be included as a character in the Lanterns TV show.
Oh.
That was the rumor.
Are they going to bring back that Amel guy or? Well,
so they asked. You know, they put a tweet out there and asked James Gunn, is this true? His response was, haha, no.
Oh.
So
okay.
If you've been holding on to that rumor, that one's been debunked. Look who's here.
Hey.
It's in the swirl. How you doing?
Look, every show,
Yes.
God, I cannot do the backwards thing. Lucinda made this one-of-a-kind tumbler for me. And she can do the same thing for you. So if you are interested in one-of-a-kind superhero type things, check her out and get in touch with her. She can make it happen. And
absolutely.
It's wonderful.
Yes, absolutely. Good job, Lucinda. So is she on Etsy, do you know? Or does she have her own website?
I'm fuzzy.
She can answer that question for herself in the comments.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
I think you can get through to her via her the YouTube connection device. If not, I can help you out. I just have to do it at a later time. Yes, Etsy. Oh, thank God. Okay. Jesus.
But yeah, she does a beautiful job. So you guys check it out for your superhero needs.
Your superhero needs and desires.
Needs and desires. I don't know if she can fulfill all of mine, but
well, she'll give it a good try.
I should give it a good try. That's all I can. Hey, that's more than anyone else is doing. So give it a good try.
Give it a good try.
Awesome. So really for news, that's kind of where I'm at. So, you know, if anything else, needs to get covered that was missed. I'm sure SK will take care of that the next time he's on the show.
He's gonna have to. Where I'm completely limited in my ability to talk about news items. So that's why I rely on Tony.
That's right.
What are you two talking about?
Yes.
The only other bit of news I do have is that the actress who's playing Supergirl, I saw a preview on Netflix for a film that she is starring in.
Okay.
Now, I don't remember the name of the film.
I don't remember the name of the actress.
No.
Okay.
But I'm sure if someone does know her name, they can quickly Google to see if you haven't seen her in the Dragon Show, the Game of Thrones spinoff, because she's in a couple episodes of that in the first season. Then you'll find out who she is, and because that's the only thing I know her from. And so I can't say that I'm super excited to see her as Supergirl, but I'm eager to be proven wrong. So I'm in. And I tried to read the Woman of Tomorrow story, and it kind of reminded me of True Grit.
Okay.
In that there's, the tired old gun, and Supergirl's the tired old gun, is being asked to participate in one last adventure to help a young girl. And so I like that concept. You know what I mean? And if that's what this movie is going to be built around, I think that's that would be nice. So.
Yeah. And if you know where that actress can get herself a page puncher,
speak up.
Throwing that out there. Yeah, speak now, or forever hold your PP.
Punch.
Your PP.
Okay.
Hold your PP.
I'm trying.
As we segue into our retro review tonight, not only do we have what I think is a great retro review story tonight, it's a 2-issue continuing story arc from right at the end of the Silver Age, right before we kick off into the Bronze Age. But when we get done, we're going to talk a little bit about what it's like to collect Lois Lane in general, because we have a Lois Lane collector export with us. So
yes.
I'm looking forward to that.
I can't wait for my book show, and also talked about what's new on the channel. So it's all Lois Lane all night long here, whether you like
awesome. I like it. And we really haven't done, a whole lot of Lois Lane featured. I mean, she's always been the supporting character,
Right.
So we're going to start out with Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane. We're going to do issues 80 and 81. First of all, this is a cover I think a lot of comic book fans are familiar with.
Yeah, because you see how she has ripped off the girlfriend part of the logo, and then you can see through it, supposedly, oh my God, there's the story. I mean, it's very clever. It's a Curt, Swan, and Neal Adams cover. So, you're in good hands. It's not the first time Neal Adams did a Lois Lane cover, but it's one of his early ones.
Yeah, and I love, she's essentially is breaking the fourth wall. Get out of my magazine, Superman. I'm leaving Metropolis to start a new life, one that doesn't include you.
It's Splitsville. And so that way, that puts you just in the right kind of time frame, because it's 1968. Cat. And can you go back on the thing just to show the ad? Because
the ad,
yeah. So it's the model kit for the lunar bug, and if you were to read the whole thing, you would be like, "Oh my God, this is a replica of what's going to go to the moon." Because in 1968, going to the moon was a big deal, and this story with Lois Lane takes place at fake Cape Canaveral, but it's Cape Coral in the book. So it's a nice little synergistic way that even in 1968 they were doing that. So so there you go.
Awesome. You want to take it away then?
You bet. Okay. So we start the story with a beautiful Curt Schaffenberger splash page, which he was really well known for, I think. So basically, it's everything you need to know in this story going forward. You've got Lois, for some reason, in a nursing uniform, a handsome military man, and a weepy Superman thinking, oh my God, she doesn't love me. So the story starts out with a surprise birthday party for Lois. But the big surprise to her is that Superman is a no-show. And so for 2 or 3 pages, she kind of weeps and moans. And it's like, God, he's just not coming. She tries to hide her disappointment, but she is so distraught that she ends up leaving the party after he doesn't show up. And she ends up in the rain in a very typical Lois Lane image of a bedraggled Lois being mournful in the rain. But then she finds Superman inexplicably in the street, and what he's doing is pounding old cars into metal cubes as some part of beautification project. But can you imagine? It's like, yeah, there's Superman pounding metal. She lets him have it for forgetting her birthday party. And he's like, but I have to do this. And all, but he's also thinking, oh my God, here she goes. She's hysterical. So she goes home and realizes that she's been kidding herself, that Cal will ever marry her. Everyone's laughing at me behind my back. This is just nuts. So she calls Perry White the next morning to ask for a day off. But Perry does her one better and gives her a leave of absence for a few months, like most employers would do. I don't think so. She empties her bank accounts and gets some hip new clothes and bathing suits and such, and then makes sure to give her Superman memorabilia away to charity. And then on the next page, she basically throws a dart at a map. And decides, yep, Coral City, Florida, that's where I'm going. Now, Superman, with his supervision, has seen all of this, but decides that after all he's put her through, it's probably for the best. So our lonely, weeping Lois takes the train and ends up in Coral City, population 5,033, an oddly specific number written there on the train station. So chapter 2 is called Love Comes to Lois Lorne. We see Lois apply for a nursing job at Coral City Hospital because she had done some volunteer nursing before. So there's method to that madness. While she's waiting to be interviewed, in typical Lois fashion, she helps a kid retrieve his toy by flooding the hole that it just fell in with water. And just like the ball, Lois's ingenuity rises to the surface, and a handsome doctor sees it, and he's like, you're the kind of go-getter we need. So you can think on your feet. You're hired, miss. And Lois says, Lorne, Lois Lorne. So for no apparent reason, she has now changed her name. And she quickly becomes indispensable at the hospital, first as a physical therapist, and then the next panel, a surgery nurse, because that's how quickly you can move up at a hospital.
Yeah.
And then at some point, she realizes that she's thinking less and less about Superman and just feeling better about life in general. And at some point, she and one of her coworkers watches a rocket launch from the hospital balcony. And that's when we meet Commander Rand Kirby, handsome astronaut. But during his test flight, something goes terribly wrong, and he needs to abort the mission. The rocket blows up, but the capsule splashes down into the ocean. Lois finds herself reverting to form and praying that Superman saves the astronaut, but he doesn't show up. He is fished out of the water by the Navy, and they take him to the hospital, and they rush him into surgery for what has become my favorite panel so far in this story, among many. But so they're in the operating room. Doctor says he's in shock. He'll need a transfusion. Luckily, his dog tags list his blood type. And Lois, the surgery nurse now, says, I'll go down to the blood bank, doctor. And she thinks, poor fellow, so handsome, so tall, yet so helpless. I'm sure all the medical professionals are always doing that in the operating room. Now, she goes down to the blood bank, but the door is stuck. But because she has the dog tag, she knows that her blood matches his, so she donates her own blood. And it isn't until some reason the x-rays come back that the tall, handsome astronaut comes out of the coma, fit as a fiddle, and eager to meet Lois. Now, I don't understand how you operate on someone before you take x-rays to know but it's Florida, things happen.
Florida, yeah.
Florida, I don't know. So the astronaut wakes up, and astronaut Rand is laying it on thick with Lois, telling her she's the most beautiful angel of mercy he could have dreamed of. And Lois finds herself blushing like a schoolgirl. And as foretold by the splash page, Rand and Lois are hot and heavy. Even though she doesn't want to, she sometimes compares him to Superman. Meanwhile, back in Metropolis, Clark Kent is bored and lonely without Lois. He's really kind of can't believe it, but geez, life is just kind of flat. And he ends up rescuing a couple of damsels in distress who were doing things that Lois used to do, like fall off of buildings and that kind of thing. And there's one damsel that he saves with this eye-rolling panel. Obsessed by memories of the girl reporter, Superman seems to see her everywhere. Superman, it was worth going over the falls to be caught in your arms. And he thinks she was a dead ringer for Lois until I caught a look at her face. Yuck. Yuck. Okay. And then this part of the story ends with a forlorn-looking Cal, having a 1,000-yard stare. If only he knew where she was so he could bring her back. In part 3, Perry sends Clark down to Coral City to cover the new space program.
And wait, did you lose? Yep, you lost me. Sorry.
Oh.
My fault. My bad.
Oh, my God. How can you? I know it's hard to interrupt.
Commercial.
It's a commercial. We could read letters to the editor if you want. There we go.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
There, okay. So, The Jealous Superman, part 3. So, Clark is sent down to Coral City to cover the new space program, and he runs into Lois, who tells him to keep his trap shut about her new last name. Again, not mentioning really why she's changed her name other than she just has. And by the way, here's my new boyfriend now. She tells him, listen, I've been doing my very best to move past Superman. And Clark is like, well, we'll see about that. So Clark thinks he can outshine, the space cowboy. So in a really lovely little set piece that's so Silver Age, Clark is at the beach and sees a girl running into trouble with the surfboard and sharks. So he changes into Superman and goes and beats up the sharks. And he's thinking, that space cowboy couldn't do this, could he? After he changes back into his Clark Kent swimming togs, he's back in the ocean trying to swim back to where he was. And a driftwood hit him in the head, but he has to fake that he's injured or else they'll figure out that he's, Superman. And of course, who saves the faking it Clark Kent, but the handsome, tall astronaut. So Lois still really only has eyes for Rand. So Clark heads back to Metropolis. And then, Rand shows Lois the house that is being built for them by the government. A grateful nation is thankful for this work they're doing with the space program. And Lois actually remembers dreams that she had about Superman but finally now she will have some peace with Rand. Later on, at the building site of their new home, Lois realizes that one of the workers is actually a spy trying to obtain military secrets. It's a longer set piece that really you don't need to know that much about, other than Superman shows up to apprehend the spy. And when he takes the injured spy to the hospital, he meets up with Lois. And Soups, tells Lois that since she was the one that suggested to Rand that he contact Superman to capture the spy, he's like, you must have wanted to see me. Why did you do that? And she tells him she won't get back on that Kryptonian merry-go-round again. But just then the doctor shows up asking for truth serum to use on the spy. And so Lois goes to get sodium pentothal, and then a bright idea occurs to her. She's like, if Superman knew I was under influence of this, then he'd have to believe what I say is true. So she fakes, she puts water in the syringe, fakes injecting herself with it. Oh my God, I fell in the hypodermic needle. Oh my goodness. And then hits Cal with this panel here, which is, Lois, you must answer me honestly. You said you wanted to get me out of your life. Is that true, really? And she says, yes, yes, yes. You've ignored me, hurt me, humiliated me too many times. The jig's up, buddy. And so Superman is like, well, I guess I'll have to leave. I do believe her. And he leaves upset. Lois is still upset, but it looks like it really is the end for Clark and Lois Lane. So ends the first issue of this 2-issue arc. Wow, Clark and those
Oh, look who's shown up.
Oh, look at that. Hi, Tony.
Hi,
we miss
how are you? Yeah. Steve had a Lego kit of the Moonlander. That's cool.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's all over comic books of that era. All the ads. It was, we forget, but it was a really big deal.
Comic Bookworm is here. So is Super Russ. Right. And Signature King is checking in from Disney World.
Disney World. Oh my God, I love the haunted house.
Look what Comic Bookworm said.
Oh, you are so nice, Naaman. I was on his show a couple of years ago, and we had a great chat about Lois Lane. So,
and look what this one said.
Yeah.
And Russ, that was issue 80 that we just reviewed. We're about to do the conclusion to the story in issue 81. So that's coming up. And I'll take care of 81 just in a moment. So before we kind of continue into that, Shabab, are you familiar with the term super dickery?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Wonderful. Because super dickery is what's going on, at least on the cover to this next issue. So let me pull that up. Yeah. So that's some super dickery right there. Superman's being a dick.
But you know what? He's being a dick aided by beautiful Neal Adams art.
Absolutely. And all those popping colors, that purple looks so great. Although I almost think in this one, she should be ripping down the name Lane, because she's Lois Lane.
Yeah, she's Lois Lane now, right?
Yeah.
And she's back to girlfriend.
She is.
Up there.
Yeah. So
I wonder if it's telling us something.
Yeah. So let's find out exactly what's going on in this conclusion. So in our splash page here, we kind of recap what's happened in the last issue. She's changed her name, her city, and her job. But what new twists will her life take when she gains the power to read minds and see into the future? And that includes seeing Superman menaced by kryptonite in an alien space probe. But if her boyfriend Rand Kirby, or should I say fiance Rand Kirby, goes into space to rescue him, his lifeline will break and he'll die. How can she save the two most important men in my life?
Can I just say what a great Schaffenberger splash page that is?
That is a great,
I mean, that
great
is
page.
just,
Yeah,
oh,
that's pretty awesome.
That would be neat to have.
So we're starting out now at the Daily Planet, where Perry White is pretty mad at Clark Kent because he wrote a headline that said Miss Universe contest won by Lois Lane. And he's like, oh, I goofed, I'll correct it. And he notices that Clark's been in a fog ever since Lois left a month ago. Great Caesar's ghost. I bet the poor guy had a crush on Lois. No wonder he's blue. So Perry reminds him that Lois will be back from her leave of absence in a few weeks. And he's thinking, well, she really left Metropolis forever because she got fed up waiting to become Mrs. Superman. And they recap the last issue where he went down to Florida, found her as a nurse, and she told him to get out of her life. So what he decides to do is maybe Superman should write her a letter and put all his thoughts down. So he does in super speed and signs it as Superman. And he sends it via super airmail. So he takes the typewriter ribbon container, turns it into a flying saucer, and using his X-ray vision, he's able to kind of guide it and hurl it down into Coral City, where it's about to fly into her mailbox. And Lois Lane happens to be just outside and sees and hears something streaking into her mailbox. So she goes to see what this is about. It's a letter from Superman, and she's like, oh, he probably wants me back. Maybe he's even ready to propose. But she hasn't opened it yet. Instead, she's getting ready to go to work, and she's like, he's not going to propose. He never will. So she rips up her letter, and Clark is watching this with his X-ray vision. He's like, she didn't even read it. But when he stops watching, what he misses is she can't resist her curiosity to find out what the letter said. So she says she can't piece these scraps together. Now she'll never know what Superman had to say. But she says it's probably his usual, just making excuses why he can't marry me. Who needs him? I have a new boyfriend, Rand Kirby. He's a famous astronaut. He's my hero, even if he isn't super. Clark is sulking on top of the Daily Planet building. The split up is all my fault. It began when as Superman I failed to show up at Lois's birthday party because I was helping the Beautify Metropolis campaign by cleaning out an auto-wrecking yard. And then we recap back into that, and he says, you know what? I could just go back in time, fly back, and fix this. Then she won't end up going to Florida. Everything will be fine. So he speeds back in time. He sees the mayor of Metropolis waiting for him, who says, hey, you need to help with the Beautify Metropolis campaign by cleaning up this auto-wrecking yard. And he's like, I could do this super fast and get to the party in time. So he starts mashing up the cars at super speed, but he's not paying attention, and his fists are driving the steel scrap cubes into the earth like a super pile driver. So now he has to burrow down into the earth and fix this problem that he caused, which ends up halfway around the world, a mighty geyser erupting in the middle of a fish fleet in the Indian Ocean, and he's freaking out the fishermen. Some of them think he's a sea demon. Some think it's a huge flying fish. And then he has caused a gigantic whirlpool forming in the ocean, and the boats are starting to go around in it. And they're like, hey, I thought he was supposed to be a good guy. He's the one who created this problem for us. So now he's got to deal with this, and he uses to stop this giant whirlpool, he wants to cork up the tunnel with huge boulders. And then he wants to repay the fishermen back for the damage that he caused. So he gets this big net, and he catches them more fish than they would catch in an entire month. So that's his apology to him. He heads back to Metropolis. He wants to start finishing up the Beautify Metropolis thing. So he's working on those cars again. It started to rain, and the same scenario happens again. Lois is soaked. She spots him. She's upset that he missed her birthday party. She thought he was on a vital mission, but look, this is what he's doing. And how ironic, she's hysterical again. And she leaves in tears, and he's like, I shouldn't have flown back. You can't change history. So now we're back in present day, where Lois Lane gets a call from her fiance, Rand. And he's like, my parents are visiting. They want to speak with you. And she says, darling, I'd be delighted. Put them on. So they have a nice exchange and decide to meet up. In the meantime, in a grim death row at the state pen, we have these gentlemen that are about to be, they're on death row, and they're offered a chance to try out an experimental drug. But the drug possibly could kill them. They say, hey, we're headed for death no matter what. So we got a 50-50 shot. And they're like, What they don't know is this gives us the advantage. We'll try to overpower them when they come to administer that. So the nurse on duty to do that is Lois Lane, and she looks familiar, but they can't place her at first. And when the moment comes up, the thugs decide this is breakout time, but Lois is fighting with Kryptonian methods that she learned in the bottle city of Kandor, which had happened a few issues previous from this one. So she's doing her karate. Everybody was kung fu fighting. And she ends up tripping, though. And, of course, that's her downfall, and she gets caught when all of a sudden Superman shows up. And they're like, that's it. She's Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane. We got the heads up. If you don't let us go, we'll give her a squirt of this experimental mind gas, which they end up doing. But instead of harming her, what it does is her brain starts to feel like it's floating or like it's on fire. And what happens is it gives her ESP. And she does pass out, and Superman takes care of the prison scenario. And when she comes to, she can see his thoughts and how much he cares for her. She can read his mind like an open book. So now she's essentially a Tanya Tucker song. She's got one love at a time is all she can handle. And she's realizing he does love her. But she takes it out on him, She's like, I'm supposed to be grateful for the big rescue. How often do I have to tell you to stay out of my life? I've got a new career, a new romance. And he says, stop playing the games, give up this ridiculous Lois Lane masquerade and come back to Metropolis. You're living a lie. You don't love Rand Kirby, and you know it. And she's like, don't you be saying nothing against Rand. And she starts to see that one of his visions is him, Superman, marrying Lois, which was her treasure all these years, and how he wanted to take her back to the fortress as Mrs. Superman. And he also thought the excuses that he gave her in the past, that if someone knew about you, my enemies might endanger your life while I was away, and that he was telling the truth about it. It is a fear of his. And then all of a sudden, she can't read his thoughts anymore. She knows Superman loves him. So now she's a girl with a dilemma. And she's like, what am I going to tell Rand? I kind of want to go back to Metropolis and resume my life as Lois Lane. And, I'm always going to love Superman. But Rand has planned his whole life around me. So she shows up to meet the parents, Rand's parents, and they have a nice get together. Her ESP goes off again. She sees the waiter's about to drop something, and she prevents it. And finally, Rand is giving her his mother's bracelet. It's a family heirloom that always goes to the newest bride in the family. And she's like, I just can't break it off with him. Not tonight, not like this. And he's talking about their future, but he has to go up with a robot co-pilot in this Gemini capsule. And she's like, well, maybe I should tell him when he returns. And I keep thinking as I'm reading this part, she's thinking, maybe I'll tell him after I'm living with Superman.
Maybe he'll die in a space accident and I'll be off the hook.
Yeah, exactly. So she hears a special news bulletin, how the astronomers are reporting this strange automated space probe of alien origin that's approaching Earth. It's gathering samples of various space minerals. Some may be harmful to life on our world. And she's like, Superman had to leave on an urgent mission. He promised to return and check the probe out before it reaches Earth. And she's like, that's where she gets the vision. When he gets back and tries to deal with this, he's going to be trapped by kryptonite and he may die in space. So she calls Rand and she explains what's going on. And she says, you got to get in the Gemini rocket. You got to get up there and you have to help him. So they go and ask permission to use the rocket. And everyone's like, nope, not going to do it. Don't believe you. You're nuttier than a planter's factory. So Superman comes back and her vision comes true. There's kryptonite in there. It's weakening him. And it's got a hold of him. So Rand's like, I've got to sneak out. And all of a sudden now she has another vision of Rand's life cord being cut if he goes up there. And he won't be able to breathe and he'll probably die in space. So the two men that she cares about the most, both are in peril. So as Rand's about to head up, Lois is bidding him goodbye, but all of a sudden she sneaks aboard, disguised as a person who has to do a last-minute check on the robot in the co-pilot seat. So she takes off, and she's up in space unbeknownst to Rand, who starts to freak out when he sees his robot opening the space hatch. And Lois reveals that it's her, and she's like, well, I'll save him. Then the prediction won't come true because I'm the one saving him, not Rand. So she's, hold on, Superman, darling. My jetpack will get me there in a moment. So she's able to start to get him away, and the awful pain of the kryptonite is leaving him. But Rand has come out, and he's like, I don't know where Lois got the know-how to take a spacewalk, but she may need help with Superman. So, and Superman's like, uh-oh. And she's like, great heavens, I can't breathe, and I'm freezing. My air and heat have been cut off. And Superman snaps the cord between the two of them. And she's like, he's gone insane with jealousy. He's murdering us. And there's no witnesses. It's the perfect crime. And she kind of blacks out. But when she comes to, everything is fine and they're back on Earth. Superman saved them both. And he says, when Rand left the capsule, your lines tangled and your air was being choked off and your heat circuits shorted out. So I freed you up by ripping the lines loose and got you back inside. Then she has to fess up to Rand, I have something to tell you. And he said, hey, you said it over your helmet, Mike, up in space. You know, you're Superman's girl. You didn't really love me. But could we say goodbye with one last kiss? Oh. So right in front of Superman, they have their kiss. There's no stirring of the spaghetti sauce, at least not implied. No,
very chaste.
Her ESP powers don't seem to be working now. Maybe she's lost them for good. And as the story ends, the Man of Steel flies Lois back to Metropolis. Honey, it will be wonderful having you back again. Sigh, wonderful is the word, especially now that I know that he really loves me.
Oh. Yes. Okay, so Jackson has been having a lot of fun in the chat.
Okay, let's take a look at some of these.
I don't want you to miss these.
Okay. Well, first with the cover. Russ likes the cover. I agree. Yeah. Mrs. Superman always made me laugh. Hey, Greg, how you doing? Thanks for stopping in. Oh, Lois Ford.
That's so smart.
Can you read my mind? Can you hear what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh, I love anyone that uses the word trollop.
Trollop. So it's old school, but it's perfect in this.
It's still effective. I also like what Laverne and Shirley used to say. He thinks we're loosey-gooseys for money. That's a good one, too.
Oh, Lord.
So your thoughts on the storyline between the two issues?
You know what? Listen, it's a 10 out of 10. You know, I love Lois Lane of this era. And it's... The thing that I've always said about Lois is that I never have had a problem with her wanting to marry Superman, because I think she knows from the bottom of her heart that this is the only man in the galaxy who will not bore her to death. Probably, you know, I mean, yeah. And what I think is great about this set of stories is that it's kind of the same thing for him. You know, when he's sitting in Metropolis, like, this life is so flat. It's so boring. You know, I need her to, you know, keep me goosed up and interested in life. And so that, I think, is the first time that that I can recall where Superman is like kind of like, yeah, I need you too. And so I'm a big fan of these two stories. And the Schaffenberger art, I mean, give me a break. I just, I love the way he draws Lois Lane, even when she's wet and in the rain. Yeah. And I love how he draws Superman, because he makes him kind of out of proportion and kind of like his neck is too thick and his head is too big. And, you know, compared to Lois, who is so elegantly drawn, you know, I mean, so in her own book here, she's, I just think she has kind of the edge, you know, in terms of the two of them. So I love everything about these stories. So good pick, Ryan. I did not pick these. Ryan.
Yeah, I did pick them.
Yeah, Magic Lasso picked this.
So I bought this book at the end of last year at a comic show. And the reason I bought it was for the cover, because it's one of those classic covers with her ripping off the trade dress. And I'm like, well, I want that just for the cover. And then I read that story and I went, whoa, that's a really good story.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and it leaves on a cliffhanger, which a lot of comic books back then didn't.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
And then I still don't have the part 2. So this weekend was my first time reading the conclusion to that. I do need to get. I didn't realize that it was a 2-parter, even when I bought it. And I've seen that book before, but always chose something else to buy instead. But now I need to get the other one.
Yeah.
In your story, one thing that I thought was interesting, when, she's home after he ticks her off, missing her birthday, and she's all wet and everything, and she's looking at a picture of her parents, and then she's looking at her picture of her sister Lucy. She says, "And my sister Lucy, who refused to get married until I became Mrs. Superman."
Okay. What? Listen.
Issues.
I was going to say, there's some... Not every family is as functional as, as any other family, but wow, okay.
And I was also going to say, for someone that she becomes engaged to, perhaps did he know she was Lois Lane?
Again, I don't understand the changing her name to Lois Lane unless it was an attempt to make sure Superman never found her.
Well, he found her anyway.
And he found her anyway. So, and like, if you move to Cape Canaveral, so to speak, where the space program is located, chances are Superman's going to show up at some point.
Yeah.
So,
she probably stayed away from Cocoa Beach because of Jeannie. Yes, Master.
Yeah. Man, that place was hopping in the 60s.
It was.
That's very,
very Korean. Yeah, I guess. But I love this. I'll do 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I liked it. And I have to get the second part of the story. Even though I read it now, I have to have that super dickery cover in my... Listen, and I have to have the second part of the story.
Yeah, I mean, you can't not have this in your Lois Lane collection because of the Super Dickory and the beautiful Neal Adams Super Dickory art. It is a must-have for your collection. And,
I agree.
And I see Jackson here saying, I don't collect Lois comics, but you may have to hunt these too. First of all, why don't you? But yeah, these are fun ones to have.
So let's talk a little bit about collecting Lois Lane. Is this, I mean, to me, I would think that a Lois Lane collector, it seems like an overwhelming task from the start. Because here's a character that's rich in history already, probably before whoever wants to collect her was even born.
Right.
Long before. Right. I mean, I'm going through the same thing. My favorite character is a legacy character that has been around for decades before I was born and will be around for decades long after I'm gone.
Right. It's almost like, well, I guess that means I have to collect every DC book ever published if I want to have my Wonder Woman collection.
So let's talk about that. Talk about being a Lois Lane collector. Is it tough? Is it easy? What's the hardest part? What's the easiest part? What are the rewards to it?
Well, I think what makes it easy and fun is that she had her own book.
That lasted 130 some issues.
Yeah, from 1957 to 1974.
And incidentally, it didn't get canceled. It got folded into Superman Family.
Right. And so she was, I think, at her, at some point in the Lois Lane book history, it was like the second or third most popular title they had. So it was started as a, Superman delivery mechanism. But hello, sleepy reader. So she's always been super popular. So the fun part is, going to her. You can have a really fun time collecting those Lois Lane books from 57 to 74. There aren't a lot of keys for her. There are a couple of them, but they're also not so super pricey that you're putting out, thousands of dollars to be a completist if you want to. So that to me is the fun part. And for me to try and whittle down, how am I going to approach a Lois Lane collection? Last year I started kind of chasing some Golden Age books, but I basically decided to do Lois Lane on the cover but only if she's not a damsel in distress.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's like she's a policewoman, she's a teacher, she's,
kicking butt.
So yeah, she's kicking butt somehow. And so that has also been fun to kind of hunt those down, find, do some research. What are some of those kinds of books? So, and then, the Bronze Age and beyond, again, I just kind of decided to collect Lois Lane on the cover. And again, what is she doing something interesting other than just standing there? So
now, do you collect Superman family as well? I don't know if I've ever asked you that.
I did, because that's where the Lois Lane stories continued into. I didn't. There are only a couple of those that, because Lois Lane she was trading off the main story with Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane, Supergirl.
I think it was just 3 of them.
The 3 of them, yeah.
But they were the headliners that rotated. But there were other features like Mr. and Mrs. Superman. Yeah, and I think once in a while you get a Crypto story or a Superboy story or Mon Pa Kent or something.
Right. So I did not. There are only a couple of the Lois Lane stories in the Superman family that I have kept in my collection that I really actually like. Okay. But at that point, 74, 75, I was starting to fall out of comic books, and the stories were kind of falling out for me in there. I've read a bunch of them, and I was just like, so. And I was so pissed off that the Lois Lane book went away. I was just like, Superman family, I don't care.
And the early Superman families are one original story that rotated between the headliners, and the rest are reprints. And then a little bit later, they changed that to the whole book was original stories.
Yeah.
Now, when the whole book became original stories, I liked the title a lot better.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So, yeah. So.
Well, it was, like I say, the early Superman families where it was rotating. So it's like if you followed her then, you had to wait 3 months between getting a new Lois story. Yeah. So that continuity, I think it was tough to lose that. But
sure.
She had a heck of a run.
She did. Yeah, she did.
And so for me, post Bronze Age, I have went through a big, and this is where dollar bins are my best friend. Because I don't know anything from 1980 on. So I'm just always pawing through and looking for Lois Lane on the cover. I don't care what title. Again, if she's just standing there, I'm not going to get it. But if she's doing something, then I'll probably pick it up and add it to the collection. And I'm also always on the hunt for Lois Lane stories that are really good, but oftentimes she isn't featured on the cover. Like that Leviathan storyline. She was really important in that. But there's only one cover that has her on it, so I'm always kind of researching what's a great Lois Lane story that would be hidden in a book that I wouldn't necessarily find. So. Okay. Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about collecting Lois in general? Or
it's fun, and from the golden age to the present, there's something for everybody with Lois Lane, and I also think she's going to, with this movie coming out, I think the casting of Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane is the biggest stroke of genius they could have made. I think she's a tremendous actress, and I think she's going to bring the same kind of wit and fun and spark that Margot Kidder did with the Christopher Reeve movie. I think that potential is there. And so my hope is that more people, grow to, get into Lois Lane because of her and that performance. And I hope James Gunn does the character proud.
Will you go to the theater to see it?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. That one, I'm ready to go. I won't see it in IMAX because I'll puke.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, I will definitely be there. So
yeah. And what do you prefer? Do you prefer Lois knowing that he's Superman or not knowing?
um, I think knowing is really actually kind of interesting, and inevitable. My favorite part of my favorite era of Lois Lane is in her own book, but in the last part of the run of the Lois Lane title, where it wasn't an issue. She didn't care. She wasn't trying to find out that it was him. And I think the fact that they dropped that kind of thing was really good, because it was just Lois and Superman instead of marry me, marry me. Yes, they were dating. They were a couple, but that pesky little is he or isn't he kind of thing from her had gone away, and I thought that was smart too. So, but yeah, I like them married. I like their relationship. These days. And I loved like the Lois and Clark TV show. I thought that was just terrific.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's a great character. And, and the fact that she's, human, is something that I just get a huge charge out of a super, in a superhero world. We need her to kind of see that world through her eyes. I
also think Lois is such an interesting character at this time, where you have the media accused of, regardless if they do or if they don't, fake news.
Right.
And Lois Lane would never settle for anything fake.
Fake.
She has integrity. And I think if you even said the word fake news to her, she would like go massive on you.
Yeah, that Lois Lane Enemy of the People series from a few years ago that Greg Rucka did takes that head on. And it's terrific. It's out in trade paperback if you want to add. That's a good
I haven't read that, so.
It's really good. It's really good. And women take center stage in the entire storytelling. I mean, women drive all of it. But yeah, the fact that she's a reporter in the times that we live in is dealt with directly too. So
okay,
yeah,
cool.
I mean, her superpower is being a reporter. It always has been, and truth, and truth, justice, and the American way, or better life for all, or something. She's the truth part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Lois.
So, and I one other thing that I'll just mention as just a little interesting side note, and if people would like to learn more about this, they can watch your channel to see this. But here's a little nugget that I can throw out there that maybe some people don't know. Over in Brazil, she was Miriam Lane. And thanks to my friend Andre, your friend now Andre too.
My friend Andre.
There's a Miriam Lane comic book in your collection.
There
in a wedding dress. In a wedding dress.
Yeah. Oh, that's my other part of at some point I was heavily into collecting not just like every book in the Lois Lane run, which I eventually did, and I have them. But I got some CGC copies of certain Lois Lane books. I just find it funny when she's in a wedding dress. So I think every Lois Lane book in a wedding dress, a nice high grade version of that. And then those bondage covers.
Oh yeah, she had those too.
She had bondage covers. Nothing, not quite as, I know she gave Wonder Woman a run,
she did, yeah.
Money, in the mid 70s with those bondage covers. But yeah, so there's something for everybody.
There is. Hey, Bobby has stopped by. Great Caesars Ghost Bobby is here. Thank you. The Lois Lane that I really like, and I'm trying to collect this series backwards. So I started from the last issue and then have been trying to work my way down. I love the end, like the last 25 issues or so, maybe 30 issues of, well, really from 100 on up. Yeah. And then I appreciate the covers from maybe about issue 70 on up.
Yeah.
Some of the stories are hit and miss. Some of them are good, like we did tonight. That's what I love to collect. There's Rose and Thorn backup stories, which I'm a huge fan of. I was shocked at how good those are, especially considering who wrote them. So
I was going to say, our favorite writer,
Robert Kaniger. So Weird World War II is here. Oh, he likes the original, the OG Lois.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
So yeah, we're kind of getting into our Sleep. Damien likes the Rose and Thorn. Too.
Rose and Thorn is. I had a few when I was a kid. I had a few my original books, which were hand-me-downs from family friends. 2 or 3 of them were Lois Lane books. One of them had the original Rose and Thorn story in it, and I loved that era. But also, so I loved Lois Lane. But it was, 20 years ago, I was like, hey, I wonder what happened to Rose and Thorn, because that always stuck with me. So I did the same thing you did. I was chasing Lois Lane, but only for Rose and Thorn. And then I loved the book so much, I just kept going back and back and back and back. So it really has been the gift that keeps on giving.
What helped for me was I got a huge lot of Lois Lane comic books off of eBay. They were all VFs. I probably got like 14 or 15 issues at the end in one chunk. And wonderful. I got them for like $40. And I was just ecstatic to have those. Yeah. And I at that time I was trying to read one comic book a night, but they were so good I would read like 4 or 5 a night. And I'm like, I just love this. So
what can I say about reading a comic book? Okay, so in rereading these for tonight's show, I dare you to spend as much time on this book as you would on any book that you pick up today. Yeah. I mean, I read a comic book, I've got a pull list. I've got Superman and Wonder Woman. It takes me about 7 minutes. Yeah. Tops. Yeah. This, as you can tell from the stories that we went through, these are longer.
They are.
And if you want to, dive into the comic book itself, there's a lot more stuff for you to enjoy with the ads and letters to the editor and second backup stories and
or just what other comic books they're promoting because they're about to be released.
Exactly. It's just it's so much more, 12 cents versus $4 or whatever for 7 minutes. If as a reader, I feel bad for collectors these days because I think what's being collected is the cover art, which is fine. I'm all for art. Art is all art is good.
I am not familiar with Betty Dean, but I will say one thing: this channel loves Lady Cop. We love Lady Cop. Go back into the archives. We love Lady Cop. So I'm going to say that is true.
First issue special is the one. Yeah,
first issue special is the one to look for. Probably my favorite episode we've ever done.
Ever.
Greg is saying.
Oh, cool!
Oh, wow.
That is so neat. I had a subscription to Superman in the 70s. When Elliot S. Magan was the chief writer on that. So I read him. He spent time in my room, so to speak.
Wow. Nice. Nice. Yeah. So as we segue into, you guys, I think you're going to see something really cool come up in this book show portion. Let's
how
take
cool.
this too.
Oh, good for you, Greg.
What a great memory. That's awesome. You're going to see something really cool in just a few minutes, but we're going to start to talk about our channels and do our book show. Sarah, what's going on with your channel?
Okay, so the channel, it's all Lois Lane all the time. Okay. So I, tonight, this morning at midnight, a video will drop wherein I talk about, and this goes into the book show, this, which is Superman number 25. This is a Lois Lane variant cover as Lois Lane is Superwoman. So I have thoughts about this character. as a Superwoman character. I've already done a video I did a video about my thoughts on it back in January. This is a follow-up to it.
Okay.
And it's very meta because I'm talking on the video about, well, there's something that I found in my research for the show I'm going to do with Magic Lasso, which if you're watching this now, it already aired.
It already aired.
And it was really good, so you should go back and watch it.
Glad you didn't tell me that before. The pressure to be good.
I know. So yeah, there's Lois Lane. And then my other book shows, I'll just say Superman is everywhere. I went to my local comic book shop and I did pick up this facsimile.
Oh, the facsimile, yeah.
Oh, this is such a great read.
Yeah,
every time I read this story, I'm just happy as a clam with it.
That needs to be a diorama.
If only. Oh, I would look what I would do to it.
Oh God, Jackson's triggered. I'm even a little bit triggered right now. Oh my gosh.
It just doesn't matter.
He's awake now.
The other thing they gave me free, which I guess Superman Day last week, comic stores are giving these things away.
Oh,
and
nice.
I had never read the first issue of Superman for All Seasons, so that was actually new and wonderful. And the Superman All-Star, I had read, I think I've read this before, but it's just nice to have a copy of that.
Sure.
That cover. So, oh, and one more.
Sure.
Facsimile that came in my thing. I haven't read. I haven't read this yet, but you know. And there's Portrait. Why did I come here? You don't want to see things like this.
Oh boy.
No.
So that facsimile that you just showed, that is the first appearance of Wonder Girl, Donna Troy. Yesterday, according to DC Comics, was Donna Troy's birthday.
Oh, really? Well,
yes. Would you like to sing happy birthday to her?
No. Okay. I will want to show, could they have made her look like any more of an idiot? Well, really? Okay. So that's my channel. That's my book show. Okay. Sitting pretty.
I want to go through my channel real fast because I'm really excited about my book show tonight. So my channel, what's on the channel already? I have my back issue of the week YouTube short, which is about an Avengers comic book. It's one of the issues where their lineup has changed. You know, they changed their lineup many times. So that's about one of the issues where that happened. My current comic book editions video that's up on my YouTube channel, there was a comic book that I searched for over 5 years to get, and I finally found it. It's a real old Wonder Woman comic book. Plus, I show you some other things that you might not know existed. What if I said a late night talk show host as Wonder Woman exists as a Funko Pop? Watch my video and you'll see it.
That surprised me.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Oh, good Lord.
What's coming on the channel? What's coming? Back issue of the week YouTube short tomorrow is going to be Star Wars themed because, believe it or not, a week from today is Star Wars Day. We're already going to be in May. So that's tomorrow. My comic book editions video dropping on Tuesday is going to be my birthday haul because my birthday was yesterday. The same day as who? Donna Troy.
Boy. Oh, my goodness.
Yes. Oh, someone's singing Oh, Donna. We're going to get hit with a copyright.
Okay.
So, book show time. I want to show one comic book and then I really want to get into something else.
All right.
So for the comic book that I decided to show, issue 109, where Lois is sick of his shit again.
Oh, yes.
So
yes.
She is done. She is at capacity. She's throwing stuff now. She's hysterical.
Right, she's just hysterical. And look at the fringed vest.
Yes, look at that.
Oh, I can't get enough of it. Yes. It's beautiful stuff. Come on, how can you not love Lois Lane?
Yes. So now let's get into this. A couple shows ago when we had you on, we did Batman theme, and I showed something, and I really got the feeling that you thought it was cool, and I know Tony thought it was cool, and I'm kind of playing off of that tonight. let's start out with this. Phyllis Coates was the first actress to play Lois Lane live action.
Oh my gosh.
And there's an autographed
Fantastic.
Phyllis Coates 8x10.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
But she was quickly replaced with someone that looks a lot like her.
Like her.
Neal.
Oh my God. And that's to you?
Yeah, that's personalized to me.
To
yep,
you.
Yep, there's my name on there.
Goodness.
This next one isn't personalized with my name, but she was a Lois Lane, and it's pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
Erica Durance from Smallville.
Erica, wow.
Mm-hmm. It's cool.
Okay.
And getting a little bit more modern. We have Kate Bosworth.
Yeah. Who tried mightily in a part that just...
Yeah.
But
ooh, Luxinda's digging this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't have every, Lois Lane actress autograph. I wish I did, but the last one I have to show, sometimes, like Vanessa Williams says, you have to save the best for last.
Okay. Oh, and it's personalized. Oh, yep. You lucky dog.
My friend Mr. Fridge Art got this for me as a gift one year. She was at a convention that he went to.
Oh, what a treasure. What an absolute
So those are my Lois Lane autographs.
Beautiful. What a collection.
Yeah, and it looks like weird World War II, talking about some Lois actress autographs as well. So
I have to have a daughter now. Her name is Lois Lane. Lola for short. We got her all Lois actress autographs. Too bad she isn't really a comic fan. Well, not yet.
Yeah.
Anime, close enough, but
yep.
Oh my goodness.
We'll do another recap here. We got Margot Kidder.
Now,
is she the best Lois Lane to you?
So far, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, no one, yeah.
Kate Bosworth.
Nice. I did like Bitsy Tulloch, though, in the show.
Okay. Erica Durance.
Yeah.
The classics.
There you go.
Noel Neal. And
see, Noel Neal looks like, and so does Phyllis Coates, looks like Schaffenberger drew.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
They had that, I wonder if they cast for that classy kind of classic 50s, early 60s look, yeah. Just so great.
So I thought I'd share those tonight.
Oh, congratulations, Ryan. My God.
And I know that you have said it before, and I am seriously considering just doing like maybe a separate Instagram with just my autographs.
You should. My God.
And because I want to tell you, I'm very fortunate to have a lot of stuff like this.
That is so neat.
So,
well, and I know you don't put stuff up on your walls
yet.
But, but I will tell you that my partner's uncle was worked in the advertising business in New York in the 50s and 60s, and he was very musical. So all of his commercials that he produced involved music. So in their family, they have photographs signed to him by people like Ethel Merman, like Bob Hope, like Luciano Pavarotti. Like we have a Pavarotti print, like one of the Hirschfelds. It's a print, but it's signed to Paul, and something in Italian.
Yeah.
Luciano. Mamma mia. And my brother-in-law has a beautiful picture of Paul with Raquel Welch, because he did the Crystal Light commercials with her. So to have that stuff, it is a conversation piece, and it makes you feel he's got wall full of greatness. It's just so
I know I'm not going to answer for you. I think people that are familiar with this know your answer.
Curt Schaffenberger. I think he I thought
you were going to say Neal Adams.
He didn't draw story art for her.
He didn't. He did some covers.
Yeah, he did covers, and I think Schaffenberger's story art and his covers in the early 60s, just very quintessential Lois Lane for me. They're very of their time. And again, I love the way he drew her. I really love the way he drew her.
And Jackson has noticed too the big hole in my Lois Lane collection. No Terry Hatcher.
No Terry Hatcher. You got to get Elizabeth Tulloch too. So
Bitsy. I have to get her. Now she does convention appearances. I don't think Terry Hatcher does convention. I don't even think she does private signings. I don't know. I have Dean Cain autograph.
Yeah.
You're like, what are you bragging about?
Who cares?
Yeah. I've got a few of the Supermen. I've got a few of those.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. I Weird World War II. I like Byrne stuff too. I thought that was. I came to that just a few years ago because what did I know? But I liked a lot of those 80s stuff, and particularly the big shoulder pads that they were all wearing back then.
Oh yeah, the big 80s shoulder pads.
Yeah. In the Lois Lane book, I really liked is it Oxner who did a bunch of that stuff?
Bob Oxner.
So yeah.
Nice.
There isn't really a Lois Lane artist I don't like, but I'm easy, but I ain't no tramp. So.
Do you get hungry for dinner at 8? Do you like the theater but never come late?
Never.
Do you never bother with folks that you hate? Werewolf by Lunchtime is here.
Oh my God, Werewolf. My God, what time is it where you are?
Yes. It sure ain't 9:36. Thank you to everyone who stopped by tonight. This was a lot of fun. There are links to subscribe to Silverhair Bronze Age Bay, plus our other fanboys. Links are in the description for this video. Please sub up everyone that's in the chat too. Help keep building this comic book community. I asked for my birthday. I said I would love to have more subscribers to my channel. And I thought, if I'm lucky, I'll get 10. I went from 860 something to 912 in one day.
Whoa!
Now there were several people that shouted me out and made that possible. And I don't want to say them because in case I forget somebody, I would feel horrible. But several people did shout me out, and I got 50 plus subscribers, and they stuck.
Congratulations!
And I'm 912 already, so less than 100 away from 1K.
Closing in on that magic 1,000.
Lord, he's not even in the same day with us.
No, he's not. It's I keep threatening him that I'm going to, come to Australia and visit him, and I'll know which house it is because oftentimes I'm doing live dives at 6 p.m. my time, which means at 6 a.m. his time. It's like, well, I'll know your house because you're the only one up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Sarah, always a pleasure.
Listen,
to have
Ryan.
you. I mean, you are a regular. You're a regular, not a guest. You're just but I just love spending time with you.
Well, listen, I thank you for picking Lois Lane. It's about time we did it. And this was just a wonderful, wonderful review of some of Lois Lane. And the chat is always on fire, but tonight.
Yeah, you guys were extra.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. And I will also say thanks to everyone who reached out and wished me happy birthday, yourself included. So I appreciated the old boy had a good birthday yesterday. So
yeah. Another trip around the sun, Ryan. Here we go.
Another one.
Yep.
So we're hoping that Signature King, fresh from Disney, I think he went and saw Mick Mouse. I'm Mick Mouse. Mick Mouse. I like cheese. I'm Mick Mouse.
What do you think his favorite ride is? Is he like stuck on teacups? I was just gonna say. Small World.
Yeah.
He's on the Small World boat going round and round.
Yeah. So thank you all for joining us. We'll be back next week with another Fanboys Live in the Retro Review. Until then, have yourself a fantastic week. Happy, healthy, and safe, and we'll see you then. Good night.
Bye-bye.